Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes, oh yes, oh yes, legends. How's everybody doing? Let's go. Let's analyze the situation. Just in 5 minutes, we do have CPI data coming out, legends. We're going to see some volatility, and I am feeling kind of bullish. I have this gut feeling since yesterday, guys, that it's bullish. It's looking for an explosive breakout to the upside, even though the technicals are saying to me, you know, it's not looking that great, this momentum to the upside. No pinta tampoco muy bien. But, you know, we need to realize we are uptrending here. We're going to talk about the most important level of support that we do have beneath us, which is just a few $100s away from current price action. Stay cautious because in 5 minutes, we do have the inflation data, guys, coming out. It might be a big fat nothing burger, but I do expect a little bit of local volatility at least, maybe a wick down, wick up. Okay, so if you have any local positions, make sure to be defensive. The price of Bitcoin is hitting resistance. It is dancing around, okay, at the level of resistance. We did get a pullback yesterday. We came back up. I'm kind of not interested in the short right now because the movements down are looking very corrective. Local movements to the downside, but that golden pocket is holding. That golden pocket is holding that point of control of this entire range. This is a big wall, guys, but it looks like it's building up. It is building up, guys, look for a massive breakout, right? But look at this. This is why it's taking, you know, it's struggling right now. There's no doubt about it. The thing is, there is not much resistance above us, all the way above 114K. So this is like, or we reject from here, or we break out. Place your bets. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section. But we can see that massive high volume node here, the point of control literally, which we were speculating yesterday on, you know, when we were trading just beneath that zone. You know, we want to get up to this area because that is the rejection point. We are still here. We got a correction down. We moved back up and we've been dancing around at this 111K zone for the last few hours. So yeah, it is resistance. We can see it is resistance. The chart is telling us it is resistance. Price is dancing around. So the thing is, there's kind of nothing above us, huh? There's literally this wick up and down. And I have to say that there's literally no major levels above this zone. So it either kind of fakes out with volatility or it breaks out, in my opinion. Because obviously we can roll over, right? This is big resistance, but the thing is, on the lower time frame, the movements down are looking corrective, very much corrective. Yesterday, early this morning, if you wish, we had a 3-wave move down. As soon as you claim the last lower high region, that is already bullish. When you study Elliott wave theory, you realize when there is a kind of a 3-wavy move, what's going on here? Right, Tradingview is going a little bit crazy. When you have a 3-wave move to the downside, you got a move down, little consolidation, and another move down. Once you get back above these lower highs, that's already a bullish scenario. Something very similar happened in this zone as well, and we almost claimed the high. So these movements down are not, you know, screaming bearishness. Having a wave 2 here at the 0.88 Fibonacci, almost taking out the highs, is extremely rare. So this was an interesting little scalp. You know, people for longs, this is only for, you know, scalp trading. Okay, same for shorts. This is a crucial pivotal zone, as explained. Point of control of the range of the last few weeks. Golden pocket. So it either rejects from here or it breaks out, right? The price is dancing around. The movements down don't look too convincing. This is the kind of level that you want to hit, just like we did yesterday. Attempt a breakout and back down quick. You don't want to hit it and, you know, corrective structure, almost hit it again, very choppiness. This is a full recipe that this is very corrective environment at the moment. So the probabilities are actually high in this mini range that we are at least going to attempt to break it, in my opinion, here coming into the news. It's coming out here in the next minute, guys. So let's pay attention. Anybody that is, you know, has some active positions, make sure to be defensive. Looks like we're going to get a pump. We're pumping. We are pumping here on the news, legends. We are pumping on the news. It looks like it wants to pop out. We are pumping out here on inflation. It looks like it could be lower than expected, or is it higher than expected? It was as expected. It was as expected. Little pumpy action to the upside. It looks like it wants to follow through here. It's going to pop. It's going to pop. Very corrective structure as explained. When we hit such a major level of resistance, this could definitely follow through, guys, to 114k. Let's see, unless it gets an epic rejection, but it's looking quite powerful here. This is what we spot. This does look very corrective, almost taking out this high. Very corrective environment. Now the price, let's see how it follows here. We're just getting that local pump here to the upside. Will it end up in a fake out? Are we rejecting? Let me know. Some people might be entering long, some people might be entering shorts. Let me know in the comment section. Do you see this as a fake out or a breakout? Let me know right away. What do you think? Are we going to get follow through? Anybody that maybe entered some, longs? I was looking for a little bit lower, I have to be honest. But this was an acceptable quick SFP, especially when you got the price action almost taking out the highs here. When the price action almost take out the highs, you are looking for this to be corrective. So if you come down beneath this low, you're likely going to get a bounce at some region here. So maybe some of you got into a long position understanding Elliott wave theory and the probabilities that all of this does look corrective, and it did look like we were going to get a pop attempt. So this is still on the making. You never know if it's going to end up breaking out successfully or if it's going to be a fake out. What would be interesting, okay, if we were to reject beneath these lows, I'm going to give you a zone right now because it is common to get a pump and then get a flush and then you maybe rally later on. So if that is the case, we got some major levels beneath us, guys. Let me just go quickly here to the Bybit chart because we do have previous day value area high, daily open. We just missed it by a few $100s, but that is literally a zone that we do not want to lose. So if this ends up in that pump and dump scenario, because we know on news events you can create a pump, a dump, you liquidate longs, you liquidate shorts, okay, at the same time, and then the price maybe decides to pump out here, okay. The previous day value area high, daily open, we can see right there is a crucial level that would be sweeping up these local lows. It could be an interesting reaction if it does come down there to create that liquidity, basically flush, right? It is very common to see on the news events that it gets a pump, a dump, claims the last higher lows. All right, anybody that wants to attempt this volatility. Shorts, of course, here. People might be interested, in trying to catch that fake out, potential fake out. Of course, it is dangerous. But this would be interesting. This would be interesting. This would be a crucial zone that the price needs to fake out from. We've seen it before. You got news that pumps, dumps, and then goes higher. Or it dumps, it pumps, and then goes lower, right? So this would be a crucial zone to hold. Because if you get back inside the previous day value area, you have very much a possibility of coming down to the previous day value area low, right? If you lose previous day value area high, you're basically back inside yesterday's zone, which has the potential of breaking down. So if it were to come down here, you would expect that support. That would be a good attempt. But let's see. We are attempting to break out here. We are attempting. It might get follow through. We still have that massive wall of resistance that it is attempting. Will we have enough power? Okay, 14 million longs here. It's a very, very trappy situation. It could be a very trappy situation for all of those people that are long in here into the resistance, because there is big resistance. Will it break through or not? That is what people are probably speculating on right now, because we do have that immense high volume node on the volume profile. This is not going to be an easy task. We need massive amount of volume to break through of this region. Let's go through comment section. Let me know if you can hear me, if you can see me, legends. And we'll go right away through the comment section. I have to say, if you wanted to scalp this, the best scalp scenario here on the lower time frame was literally analyzing this structure, guys. Keeping it educational as always, just because I hope that you do learn something here when you do watch the streams. We like to obviously try and look for levels and possible setups, but just realize when you move up, right, and you hit a high, if you get a move down and that movement down gets a rally to almost take out the highs, literally getting above the 0.88 Fibonacci from the high to the low, this is already, if you get a correction, that gives you an option to get into a long, obviously, because what you're looking at is a ABC kind of movement, three-wave corrective structure to then take out the high. It's only a scalp, right? It's only a scalp. You could leave some open just in case the price breaks out, but this was actually an acceptable SFP right over here, purely based on this. This is already looking corrective. So this either goes a little bit lower, or it forms an SFP, or it forms a sideways kind of triangle, WXY, and then, or a local flat, and then it moves up. Well, this is very, very corrective environment. So this is why just before the news, it did look like it wanted to attempt to break those highs. There's nothing bearish about the rejection that we got at this zone, right? It's yesterday we were mentioning the possible rejection from this high volume node of the range, which we did get a rejection of just over $1,000, almost $2,000, and then it bounced back up to the highs, consolidated here throughout the entire day, and it wasn't looking like it wanted to reject, guys, right? This is the most important thing that you need to realize, that it doesn't look like it's rejecting. If you do not fall and break structure on the first attempt, second attempt, when you are dancing like this in this area, I was letting know the VIP community, there's no shorts to be taken here right now. We had an attempt yesterday. If you back above in the zone, forming these corrections, you're likely going to attempt the breakout, which is what we're doing right now. Okay, so it's very, important to understand, because, here on the channel, we might talk about major levels of, resistance, support, and yeah, we are going to get a reaction, right? Likely we get a reaction just like we did yesterday. We actually retraced almost $2,000 from that level. However, the retracement did form another higher low. You're uptrending, and you're literally consolidating throughout the entire day today at this region with pullbacks that look very corrective. And that's a full recipe that this is just going to attempt a breakout, right? Which is what we're doing right now with the news. So it's all understanding when, okay, it got the reaction, it did reject, but now we're back inside of this zone, consolidating, very corrective environment. You're not interested in taking the short right now, okay? Yesterday, yeah, we got a rejection yesterday, exactly at the golden pocket from the highs to the lows, and, in confluence with that high volume node. But price of Bitcoin wanted to dance around and have an attempt. Will this attempt fail? When will we realize that this attempt is fully failed, right? Because you might think, I want to catch the absolute high, to get into a short. But in this case, I like to try and catch highs and catch lows. I mean, on the stream the other day, we mentioned the anchored VWAP, which was from the all-time high. This is actually a good catch the high attempt. It is a good one, right? Because this is what you want to do when you hit these confluence levels. You want to swing failure pattern, you want to hit it very quick, and you want to reject very quick. No chances, no second chances, right? If you start getting a second chance, then it's like, I don't want to be in the short anymore, right? You want the price to leave. Almost similar, not yesterday, a couple of days ago, with that weekly naked point of control, right? You got this nice high volume node from this consolidation from last week, which was was a weekly naked point of control. You tap the level and you go. You had a second attempt, you actually double bottomed, but these were quick, right? You tap and go. If you tap here, you want to go. If you come back up and you consolidate, a consolidation is very well known as a corrective structure, right? And this is why you zoom in on the lower time frame, just for educational purposes, guys, because this is a level that we mentioned yesterday, right? We were trading just below the zone. We were around about 110K. We were expecting kind of a three-wave move up to attempt the breakout. And just about an hour or two after the stream, we hit the golden pocket, we hit the high volume node, and we got a rejection. Okay, the rejection did happen throughout late last night, and then early this morning we came back up eventually, right? And we consolidated. You realize right now it's a bit of a gamble, in my opinion. You know, if it does, it can reject, it can just sweep the lows and then attempt again and break through. It is a little bit of a gamble situation here because you're still uptrending. Could it SFP? Maybe yes, maybe not. There's just a very, very strong consolidation here that doesn't give me any data, right? It doesn't give me any data. But this, if you had any short attempt, based on this resistance, with this price action, you need to realize that this is not looking like it wants to roll over. Okay, even though many would think, the people that are bearish, many would think after this drop, this is getting exhausted and it looks like it wants to roll over, which could be the case. But when you go through a little bit of in-depth Elliott wave theory on the 5-minute time frame, from that local high, if you get a bounce that hits the 0.88, that almost takes out the highs, which is rare for a wave 2, you realize that this is at some point is going to take out the highs. No matter how low you go here, you have a high chance that because of this bounce, it's looking very, very corrective. So, I mean, this is with that theory that we mentioned yesterday. This is big resistance. This is why we're dancing around here and we cannot break it successfully as of yet, right? Even here yesterday, we had an attempt. It got the rejection. Today, we were just dancing around. And all of this dancing around, price action is literally screaming that it's going to have an attempt to break out. It's going to attempt to break out. So this is why when we talk about, different probabilities and levels of resistance, they can shift very, very quickly. So yeah, this is just a little bit of education. When you have this, guys, you literally want to tap and go. You want to hit SFP and go. You don't want to, dance around here, almost taking out the highs. Very, very corrective environment, which leans you much better for a scalp long, right? This would have been a pretty good SFP scenario. VWAP there holding today, SFP of the lows. You realize that all of this is corrective. It's a $1,000 move, okay? It's a scalp. It's literally to take out the highs. You're taking most of the profits. You can leave some open eventually, right? Being defensive. Just some little tips right there for anybody that's looking for intraday scalp scenarios, because here there's no swing trade, in my opinion. There's no swing trade to be taken. I realize that the price could fail, and I realize that the price could really break out here and come up to 114K. So there's no real good solid swing trade here to be taken. Okay, so we can go through a few scenarios that could happen. What are the most important levels? I am aware that this is going to come into a non-trading zone. I wouldn't class this movement as a successful break to the upside as of yet. You guys know that, right? We wouldn't classify this as a successful breakout as of yet, right? From this major high volume node. that we have from the last few weeks. It's trying. Let's say that it is trying, but it could still fail. And this is why jumping into longs right now on the breakout doesn't seem, obviously, the best thing to do. That's a problem of stop losses, right? This is really a no trading zone. I literally have nothing on the chart here in this area to speculate on a short. The best thing that you can do is to get into local longs on retracements, but we need to remain patient here. Obviously, this is not a level that I would want to long. The best scenario, if we are going to maintain the uptrend momentum, you would want to see a little bit more of a corrective move, sweeping up those higher lows, which we kind of did just a few hours ago. But it's the best area, in my opinion, to hold beneath these lows. That's where we do have the previous day value area high. Okay, and the daily open is also sitting right over here. So if you were to come down to this region, you really want to hold. Sweep up the local lows. If it does hold, that's a situation where this is looking good. We can actually attempt it again and then break it. Just for anybody that wants to jump into a new long, right? You kind of need to, it's like mandatory that you need to get a pullback down to support, right? Unless you catch this one very, very locally here, which was a 3-wave structure, SFP of the lows. It's a kind of bit of a sniper trade. You realize that taking out the highs is high probability. But now that you are at the highs, I'm not interested in this being a swing failure pattern. We just consolidated into the region just too much. This is not the kind of, this is like building a breakout. It's building, right? The SFPs that I like is when you have a solid level and you coming up and you shoot up to the level and then you SFP and then you go. Right? An SFP needs to be quick. You don't want an SFP when you're building up into the level, right? And you're consolidating at a level, because it's just a full recipe to break out, right? Just some little tips there. So yeah, of course it can SFP and it can reject, but it's just not the best. It's not the best realizing this price action that we build up throughout the last 24 hours, right? So let's go through the comment section. Then we'll go through the major levels outside of the box, right? We need to think outside of the box. For me here, I'm going to let the price decide what it needs to do. Yesterday, we did get one rejection from a level of confluence that we mentioned. It did reject just over 1,500, but it maintained the bullish market structure locally. Okay, so now in this area, I would class this zone as a non-trading zone for me. I'm aware of the breakout. I'm aware of the fake out. So if it breaks out, what are the next zones that I'm looking at? Or if we reject, what are the next levels of support, that I'm looking at to invalidate the bullish momentum? And, there are certain levels that if they are hit, then I would say, okay, it's highly likely that we come down and claim these lows right over here at 103.7k, which was the general idea a few days ago before we formed all of this price action. Okay, because this did look more corrective. However, diving deep into this zone, this is still maintaining bullish market structure, and there is a possibility of counting a 1, 2 and a 1 and a flat here for your wave 2. Even though your second wave 2 is longer and you're building bullish market structure, you just need to get, say the bullish case is possible, right? The bullish scenario is possible. When will the bullish case scenario not look so good? When will it not look so good here for the bullish case? Well, that's when you need to go. You need to start breaking some levels of support. First of all, let's go through the comment section, and then we'll build up a little bit of a few scenarios right away on the chart. Okay, we'll talk about the bullish case. How high can we go? What are the levels of resistance where we can get rejected? And what is the bullish, the bearish case? What levels do we need to hit, and how do we need to hit them to understand, okay guys, it's not looking too great. High probability that we come down to the lows. But for the moment, the bullish case, since we created that low from last Friday at 103.6k, or depending on what exchange, there is a bullish scenario. 1212, you're building market structure here. You can pop out in a wave 3. We need to be very, very much aware of that situation. There is some invalidations that I want to talk about that will increase the probability in the end to look at all of this as corrective, and this an impulse down. And eventually, if we do lose certain levels, then I would say that yes, a lower high here, we are expecting the price to move down here to the lows. But that will be understood once we get to this zone. And I want to explain how it needs to happen, just so you realize, because I'm not interested at this moment to take a short here. Okay, as explained, we build up too much consolidation into the zone. The movements are very corrective. You still have, very much local bullish market structure. So it's a failed short attempt right now. Yesterday was fine. We got a rejection. That's okay. But you need to be defensive. You're back in the zone. You're literally back at break-even area throughout today. And then, I would say that this second attempt is not nice, right? It's not nice because we've built up too much market structure throughout the last 24 hours into this zone. And shorts right now here are not attractive, right? They are not attractive anymore. So we need to see a sign of weakness. We need to see the bears kicking in right now and hit certain levels if we want to look for short positions, right? To not only claim this low, but obviously targeting the lows of last Friday. So for the moment, bulls have priority since the lows of Friday. We are uptrending. Market structure is up. Locally, throughout the last couple of days, market structure is bullish. And this market structure needs to be broken to hit these certain levels that I'm going to explain, to start even thinking about the transition, right, from this uptrend momentum that we've had in the last few days to really start thinking, okay, now the probabilities are leaning for the bears, and there is a higher chance throughout the next coming days that we could get down to the lows at 103.6k. So we will be explaining that. For the moment, like I said, the market is in bullish structure, right? I had that gut feeling that we were not gonna reject successfully in this area on yesterday's stream. The technicals, okay, yeah, we got resistance, but there's that gut feeling that you're like, it looks like it kind of feels bullish. It kind of feels it wants to reverse, but we'll go in detail with the technicals, okay? And we'll go through that in the next coming minutes after going through the comment section. Legends, much love to everybody. Smash up the like button on your way in. Suzanne, double bottom. We love double bottoms. We love bottoms on their own. They don't have to be double. I mean, come on, one by one. Let's go through the comment section. Say hello to the beautiful community. Paz Maria Vallejos, much love to you. I guess you're Spanish or from South America. Zach, how you doing, brother? Oh, that Bitcoin logo looks good. Emoji right there. Yo, Crypto Decker, how you doing? Bullish, bearish? For the moment, it is bullish, right? It depends on your style of trading, okay? If you're looking for internal scalps, we always like to do education on how to look for scalps, how to look for more day to swing trading, right? Zones and how the price needs to move, and when you need to take the decisions with very good risk management, as always, guys. Not one trade is going to make you a huge amount of money. You need to make several trades with good risk management, right? At the end of the month, you want to do 10 trades, maybe 20 trades if you're very active, but plan them and grow the account slowly and consistently, right? And of course, last Friday from 2 weeks ago, oh my goodness, I know this was a wrecked event, guys. I think I would say almost 99% of people must have lost something in this event. I lost some, I lost $15,000 on a swing long that I had on an altcoin. Anybody that had, the idea of getting into major swing longs and adding to position, because you're going to see a lot of people that say, I have limit longs here, on altcoins, which the wick went, down to hell and then came back up. So, it's kind of, it's an event that you are not going to get saved from. No matter how many limit longs you have, you're going to get out of the market, right? It's a dangerous way of trading, and there's a lot of people that are, promoting this way of trading, throughout social media. I'm not going to give any names, but there's many examples where you just put pile of limit longs. Whoever did this, and it's inevitable that you're not going to risk, 2, 3, 4% of your trading account. People are going to go all in. I have all the limit longs of my account on Ethereum, this altcoin, that altcoin, and if we get a wick down, I'll just get a massive average price entry. I can tell you, most of the people, 90% of the people got absolutely wrecked, whoever had that, type of trading, right? We try and not show the people to trade like that, because there will be events once or twice a year that is just going to completely wreck your account. And some people might have $10,000, $50,000, $500,000, right? And if you lose all that significant amount of money, for me it was $15,000. I got stopped out. I was from the small percentage that I lost money, but I move on, right? I move on. But I know this one. The next day we saw so many stories, guys. Even people taking their own life, which was extremely sad to see. Well, this is, you need to take responsibility. This is no kid's game. This is not having a game of poker with your friends at home where you're risking, $100 or $200. This is serious, right? Anyway, enough talking about that event. No need. Let's go 200 likes. Do we have 200 likes already? I would be surprised. Oh, we got 120, which is not too bad. Much love to everybody. Thanks for smashing the like button, guys. You're absolute legends. I'm going to try and go through the most comment section that I can. Okay. Kind of attempting to break out here. I would not class this as a swing failure pattern. To get into an aggressive entry, guys, it is risky. This consolidation that we formed throughout the last 24 hours after coming back up here, there's nothing bearish about this, unfortunately. You cannot tackle, this is like an ascending triangle situation, right? The more you hit the wall uptrending, the more possibilities you have in popping out, which is kind of what happened here, right? You're getting squeezed into the resistance with higher lows and very strong consolidation. And I was just letting the people know in the VIP, there's no shorts, because there's people realizing about this event, getting a couple of DMs. Do we short now? Because I'm not giving the signal that I'm doing. And I'm saying, no, this is not. Yesterday was okay to attempt it, right? Golden pocket with that high volume node. It got a nice rejection. But when you're climbing up here, you just need to start thinking getting out, close to break even. We've literally been in break even all day today. And realize that this is actually quite bullish. This consolidation is quite bullish to have an attempt of breaking out. So we need more information. We'll go through the information. We'll go through the next steps, okay? Getting into that routine of where to find the next trade, right? Because it doesn't matter whatever trades you got in throughout the last week, right? Oh, maybe you shorted here. Maybe you longed here. Well, what is the next one, right? What is the next zone? And what, this is not looking too interesting right now. It's a non-trading zone for me. I realize about the rejection. I realize about the pump. So I wanted to see another zone created, right, where we can have some attempts. That's what we're going to explain throughout this stream, guys. So make sure to buckle up, smash up the like button. We're going to build this up together. I'm going to quickly go through comment section. I think I'm going to try and timestamp the live stream later on, guys, because it gets too long, it gets too messy, and people just say, bro, timestamp your live streams, because you're just, going through comment section. I don't know where you talked about the levels and scenarios, so I'll try and do that later on. I've been already about 20 yeah, just over 30, almost 30 minutes here. So I'll timestamp that later on for anybody that wants to watch it later. 107.5k first, then maybe 103k again, says Cryptomania. We're going to go through some scenarios. Like button smash, says Joseph Cox. Much love, my man. Suzanne, hello. Staffer1, the legend himself here, moderating like an absolute boss. How you doing, brother? Much love to you. Sin Games also. I was long on that day, but I was well protected and managed to rebuild the position at much lower average. I always have protection to cover even to zero, says Sin Games. On that major liquidation, yeah. That major liquidation event from the previous Friday. Inverse head and shoulder, daily time frame, Ethereum and XRP also 4 hourly looking. Could you check it? We're gonna have to take a look at Ethereum. I'm very bullish on Ethereum. Okay, yeah, I think it's just getting ready for a big breakout. As long as you can't see the liquidation, you are not part of it. Yes, exactly. Staffer, my man, much love to you, brother. Staffer here giving love and power. Sin Games as well. Ethereum, please. Yes, Staffer is bot. Staffer is the boss. We do love bottom, says Jets228. We absolutely do. More than double tops. Double bottoms are better. Will New York Open will be manipulated before pump? Well, that's another thing, right? How New York Open is going to open in 30 minutes? Well, we don't know. But we need to get the levels ready. Different scenarios. Buckle up, guys. Get your cup of coffee, cup of tea. Because we are starting with the Bitcoin technical analysis. Bearish case scenario. Still very possible. This is something I have been favoring throughout the last week. But with the current information, you realize that maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe this is the end of a 5-wave move to the downside. And, you know, this is like we are looking for a reversal. Either the low being in here or coming down one more time to the low and then, you know, maybe hit 100k or get below 100k. But we are not looking for a successful breakdown after this. Okay, I mean, after this, you know, you're not looking for a very, I mean, of course you could. If we get a larger bounce in this zone, this could be very corrective price action. So I would prefer the price to roll over from here and then obviously, you know, get the bounce and then see how strong that bounce is going to be. Because if you start moving up from here and you wick down and then you back up and then you're kind of almost overlapping the lows, and then you're like, oh, this is not looking too great, to be honest. It might be a complex sideways WXY. We'll go to that once we get more information. But yeah, I mean, this is the thing. It might form a corrective environment here. But the overall idea is that you had the big move, bounce back down, 5-wave structure. You are looking for a reversal to happen, with this being the low or testing the low one more time, right? You realize that a successful breakdown here is unlikely just because the biggest move has happened already. And when you have the biggest move, you classify it as a wave 3, right? Anybody that's not aware of you know, basic Elliott wave 3, Elliott wave knowledge, well, when you have the biggest move, which is your wave 3, you realize that your wave 5 is going to top out at some point, right? In this case being an uptrend, and you are going to start reversing down, right? In this case, it's to the downside. The biggest move, wave 3, then you expect a 5. And, you know, the main reason why we were speculating on another 4 and 5, which is still valid, guys. It is still very much a possible scenario, just so you know, is because this could have countered a double 1-2. Of course, you can have a single 1 and 2, which is 1 and a running flat and a 2 here, which is not too nice, but ultimately it can be the case. So what am I interested? What are the major levels? Like I said, in this zone, I would not personally speculate on a short right now at this moment. We're building up here the momentum. This is a no trade zone. There is a lack of confluence in this area, a lack of volume, a lack of levels. And if there's a lack of levels, you realize that the price could slice through that zone pretty easily. So in this middle zone, I'm not interested in trying to catch the high for a short position, and I don't want to FOMO into a long eventually either. So this is a no trade zone for me. Once we get back above this pivot high, that's when things start looking interesting, because you start seeing the first major levels, right? Which is this consolidation that we had in October, right? These consolidations, these order block scenarios, right? These little areas, you need to take them into consideration. 115K, we have a naked point of control right there. Right over here, there is a naked point of control. So that would be my first zone of interest to possibly look for an intraday rejection. That is coming all the way up to break this high, and literally you're looking for that possible reaction back down. It might be a little scalp. You might get supported here and then attempt the high again. All right. It's only a quick level of rejection. I would attempt here, depending on the movement, but this is very, very classic. If you do get a breakout of a major pivot high, you kind of quickly flip it into support, very possibly to get a bounce, maybe to test the highs or not. But it's all about taking the decision with very good risk management. Be defensive all the time with your stop. So this is the first big major level, 115K above this high, right? This area for me is a non-trading zone. I don't want a long on FOMO. If I do get a little correction, if we move up and we correct down and it seems corrective, then maybe another long position, right, to claim the local highs. That's okay. But regarding swing positions, to look for a move of $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, there's no major longs to be taken, on the hype here, on the pump. You can put stop loss beneath a higher low and have the attempt eventually, right? If you can manage risk and do it, then obviously yes. But I'm just here to talk about the higher time frame major levels. What we need to be aware of is an explosive breakout. Okay, because if we go with the theory of this is a multiple 1-2 setup, right? Remember, all of this massive uptrend momentum idea of breaking out and maybe heading to all-time high, okay, let's not get too excited, is having the general idea that what we formed in the last few months since rejecting from all-time high here is forming an ABC flat, okay? ABC flat that I have right over here, okay? Where there is a corrective three-wave structure. We were very much aware of new all-time highs, a couple of months ago, back in September. Very much aware that all-time high is likely going to happen as we have a three-wave move down here, and this rally already kind of confirmed that there's high probability in hitting new all-time high. Few ideas that we had. One of them was the flat. If you form a higher low here, three-wave structure up, three-wave down, you can move down in a very strong impulsive move, which we did create that epic liquidation event that many people got hurt, and we were aware that we could get down below 107K again based on the ABC flat. The main reason I'm talking about this is because this could be the end of a correction. There is a 5-wave move down here, okay? You can count a 5-wave move down. It is, you can count it. A 5-wave move down is what you need inside of a C wave of a flat. So this is the bullish case. The bullish case is that we're building up here multiple 1-2s, and we off to Valhalla, right, in the next coming weeks, all-time high and much higher levels. I need to understand that this is very much maybe this is it, guys. Maybe this is it. For the moment, the momentum is good. This would eventually help Ethereum and some other altcoins to pick up, but we need a lot of people had that bearish sentiment, guys. Did you see the bearish sentiment? Maybe even throughout YouTube, some influencers out there were actually, actually calling for the top to be in bear market, right? Even on X, I like to look at X with my coffee in the morning and, follow different analysts and influencers just to see what they're posting. And there was a bit of bearish sentiment, I have to be honest. And well, we could see it in the fear and greed index, right? People really got shaken out with that movement that we had on the Friday liquidation event. But on the higher time frame, we are sticking to the guns here. Regardless, myself on the lower time frame, that we were talking about, the probabilities of claiming down this to this low. The probability still is very, very possible to come and hit this low. But with the new information that we get, we need to realize what we're building. We're possibly building some bullish market structure. So we need to take it into consideration. Not that we're getting too bullish yet, guys. We're going to talk about the bearish case scenario and how to identify when there will be very strong probability, because there's not much room. There's not much room here for the bulls. If you lose certain levels, which I'm going to explain now after the bullish case, there's going to be high probability, again, that, that's it, right? It's very, very high probability that we're coming down to this low if we lose these certain levels that I'm going to explain here throughout the next 10 minutes after talking about the bullish case. And there's not too much room for a bullish case scenario if the price drops here. With this structure, there's not many options. There is an option that I need to talk about eventually. And it's just a very good level to either bounce or break. And, it's a decision zone of support on one bullish case scenario that we have if you get down below $108,000, literally, well, this higher low over here. We'll go through that step by step, okay? But let's talk about bullish, because we are bullish. I am bullish on higher time frame. I am bullish on Bitcoin. We're always bullish on Bitcoin on the higher time frame, right? Bitcoin $2 million. The general idea here on the higher time frame is I am still proven that we get a very corrective structure in the next couple of weeks. If we get to 116 or 120k and we start rejecting very aggressively and the structure does not look as a bullish momentum, multiple 1-2s, and it looks very corrective, I will be in doubt that, if we are going to be bullish, right? I will be looking for the lows to be hit, maybe, depending on that information. But it seems silly right now, just even speculating about it. But because we still need a lot of price action still to, I do get people asking me, do you think the top is in? Are you deleveraging right now? Are you basically selling more crypto or Bitcoin? And I said, no, I've already sold 25% of my entire spot bags in between 90k and the other day, almost at all-time high, 15% out of 125k. So I'm already happy with the profits that I've taken, and I wouldn't sell more Bitcoin. Me personally, that's my strategy, of course. I don't see still warning signs of a bear market. We are in October, we are in Q4. And, the idea is that we've had a massive shakeout. Big, fearful shakeout liquidation event. Get people screaming, from the top of their lungs, bear market, it's over. It's time to be in precious metals, gold and silver, right? Crypto's over. Maybe crypto's over. We're talking about Bitcoin mainly, right? I'm worried more about Bitcoin. That's where most of my net worth is in, right? So I kind of can't care less of altcoins, guys. Altcoins have been an absolute mess. I have the bag. If they pump, so be it. If they go to zero, so be it as well, right? It's just I can't give a damn anymore on altcoins, guys. We got absolutely destroyed in this cycle. We're going to give a little bit of hopium for the next coming months because we are in Q4 of the 4-year cycle theory and all of this. Let's see, right? I am very bullish on Ethereum. We'll be taking a look at Ethereum eventually, the number 2 crypto, because that's the one that I strongly believe is going to get another rally to all-time high in the next coming weeks, potentially, before the end of the year. And if Ethereum does get that rally to all-time high, we are very likely going to see some high cap cryptos getting some pops to the upside, right? They are going to start popping up, right? Because Ethereum is the altcoin leader. It's the altcoin king, right? So if Ethereum does well, which the technicals do point out based on the price action that we had from all-time high, very, very corrective, higher time frame price action, we are looking for that breakout on Ethereum to happen at some point. So inevitably, some altcoins are going to do well here, right? Maybe not all of them, but I would say a good portion of them, especially the high cap good projects, right? which altcoin is a good project? I guess mainly DeFi. DeFi is good. But anyway, going through this scenario, ABC flat. The good thing about an ABC flat, it can be the low of a correction, right? It can be a low of a correction, and then you just form bullish market structure. You form another wave up. It has the potential. This has the potential to be a finished correction. When we were looking at the charts a few weeks ago, we were talking about this not being the low to break out from all-time high successfully, right? Any legit followers from a few weeks ago, we were very much aware that if the price moves up from this low and forms a higher low, and we come up to all-time high after forming a huge explosive 5-wave move up in a contracting diagonal, if this is going to be the low to hit all-time high, it's not going to be good. It's not going to be good. It's not going to be looking good. This low is extremely shallow, not only on Fibonacci retracement, but in timing. You cannot have a $50,000 pump. You cannot have a $50,000 pump that has been created in 4 months and get a pullback, okay, of $10,000 in less than a month to expect you're going to break out from all-time high after forming a 5-wave structure. It's just, it's dangerous. It's dangerous to form a higher low in a short period of time after a 5-wave structure and then come up to all-time high, because a flat, either sweep up those lows, is very much a scenario, right? This is something that we talked about, many weeks ago before even hitting the highs. So now it's good. Now this is a good reset. You've had the flush. You've created one more low. The overall question throughout the last week was, yes, it looks good for another low. I can't deny that. This was my favorite scenario. It was to actually create one more low and then get the bounce. But regardless, you're already looking for a end of a move down and get a really nice, a really nice rally throughout the next couple of weeks. And the simple reason is you got a 5-wave move down already. You got an achievable 5-wave count already from the highs. Big move down, dead cat bounce, test the lows. After a 5-wave move to the downside, you are looking for a reversal bounce. You are looking for a reversal bounce on the higher time frame, regardless if you step on the low again or not, right? So yeah, this just, the main reason we're going out this far, guys, is just to make you realize that this has the potential of being the low. It has the potential. This didn't have much potential to be the low, even though we did go to all-time high. It was not a successful breakout, and we came back down. I was not in favor of this being the low of the correction after this 5-wave move up. I just did not like it. And yeah, we did come down very aggressively, right? Just in the last couple of weeks. So now I have to come out clear. This right now has the potential with a possible five wave move, unless we get, it's still possible to create one more low. Don't get me wrong here. But it has the potential, right? It has the potential of being a low. And this, with the timing and everything, I would expect the next breakout to actually break out, to actually pump, $10,000, $15,000, might go to 130, might go to 140. Then the breakout is realistic. A few weeks ago, this breakout here to go to Valhalla was unrealistic with this correction. Now, with all of this correction, we can gain some steam on the breakout. Now it makes a little bit more sense, right, on the higher time frame. So I'm just here, I'm just a messenger, guys, giving you my opinion on the higher time frame here. So this is why I zoomed out, right? The main reason I zoomed out is because, yes, there is a chance for a multiple 1-2 here, okay? And eventually you want to get into, instead of missing the train, your only option here is mainly day trade longs into the highs and be defensive, leave 30% open, 40% open, anybody that wants to get into new trades. This is why today I mentioned the best zone to consider joining this uptrend is literally the previous day value area high and the daily open. That is the zone that needs to hold. If you do not hold this area, okay, previous day value area high with today's open, which is round about this area also, as you can see, here's where we opened. You might sweep up the lows. If it turns into a failed move down, it could just be another higher low. And that would be the best zone, right? If you're uptrending, you want to get into the retracement, the deepest retracement possible to get into a higher low. Will it happen or not? Well, I do not know, but I know it's the best confluence level and it's a decent retracement from the last pumps. It would just be the best area to join, because when we get these uptrend momentum and it gets a breakout, sometimes you don't get these insane pullbacks, right? Sometimes if the price is going to leave the station, you want to try and get into the local higher lows, right? I mean, you want to try and get into the uptrend momentum. You could still catch a swing long here, right? So what if the price is, this is like very, very, very bullish talk at the moment, but just if you want to join safely, maybe this is not going to even retrace down to 109K or 110K, right? Because you might think it's going to roll over, but instead it just builds up those multiple 1-2s, which could be a scenario here, right? You're building up multiple 1-2s, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, and then you 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. You create the third wave, 4, 5, 4, and 5, right? And it just turns into a big, massive impulsive move to the upside. So as long as the structure is not broken, and for this structure to be broken, we'll go in detail right now. I'm just giving you a zone where the price could bounce, okay? I'm just giving you a zone where the price could bounce as a higher low. It's the best confluence area. So you might have this swing failure pattern. It looks like it's going to roll over and then forms a higher low, and then the next one does break out, right? Because this kind of price action is very attractive for a lot of bears, right? Bears are shorting here like hell. I can tell you that. Let's take a look out here at they're also longs eventually, but the bears want to short here. They want the reversal. So you might get some people shorting, right? And then eventually your bigger support zone here for a higher low would be this one, which is previous day value area high, the daily open. And if this has to be a bullish structure, the best chance that it has is a multiple 1-2, which is the most common way of starting a impulsive move to the upside. Then when you get to diagonals, they have lower probability. If you break a multiple 1-2 structure, then you have to start thinking about diagonals, right? And a diagonal structure here in this uptrend from Thursday that we started from last, was it? Just 2 days ago, Wednesday. Then eventually you got a wave 1, a wave 2, a wave 3, a wave 4, and let's say wave 5, right? Let's just clean up the chart here. 1 second. And hang on a minute. There we go. Let's just imagine that we're looking at something like this. If the price does get to 108.7k, your multiple 1-2 scenario doesn't work anymore. There would be one chance here for a 1 ABC flat. You just sweep up this low or create a running flat and then move up. Okay, I would say it's possible. But the moment you take out 108.7k, the probabilities will start increasing for the bulls unless there is some kind of a diagonal here. The only way to count this as a 5-wave structure, you cannot form an impulse because your wave 4 has overlapped your wave 1. So that's not possible. If that is the case, you need to start thinking about diagonals. So you connect. Holy smokes, I don't know why I got this like that. I think I did something before. So let's connect here your wave 1 and 3, your wave 2 and 4. And yes, it would have to be an expanding diagonal, right? It's opening. The trends are expanding. So yeah, an expanding diagonal, if your wave 5 is longer than your wave 3, is a possibility. But expanding diagonals are the most uncommon motive waves. So it just barely got above the 1-to-1. So it is longer than the third wave. So an expanding diagonal here is possible for a motive wave. So even though you come down and hit this low, there would be still a higher low potential, unfortunately, right, for the bears. If you didn't create this pump, which was with the news, if you would have got down to this level, then it would have been very bearish. But because you have an expanding diagonal potential right now, it could still form a higher low. Your hard invalidation here is literally 106.6, but that's almost coming down to this area. So yeah, it's not going to be, if the price does move down here, in a corrective manner, you start overlapping. Say that we get a dump, you correct, you get another dump, and this pump comes all the way up to claim this lower high or get very close in claiming it. This is going to be very, very corrective environment. So this is when we have to go with the triple 1-2 scenario, right? Which is 1-2, 1-2, where you got a flat in 2 here, and then another 1-2. It would be the most awful multiple 1-2 setup, but we have to take it into consideration, especially if that movement down fails on the third wave. Where you detect this, guys, where you detect and you transition into the bullish case, and you could go max long in this area, just say, and look for much higher, look for a breakout, is when that third wave, after getting the movement down, fails to get continuation and claims the lower high or gets close to it. Then this is extremely corrective price action with high probability. Just to give you a quick example, it's literally what happened today on a lower time frame. Okay, this thing that I'm explaining on the 1 hourly time frame, I just want to explain it on the 5 minute, guys, because I want people to follow up here. If your movement down here, right, You got this pump hitting the 0.88. In this case, this is a different scenario. But then you obviously, well, this is too close. Let's get another example here. Yeah, this one. Just so you realize what is corrective, right? This movement, move down, little consolidation, move down. There's no 5-wave move in this area. The moment the price comes up to sweep up these lower highs, it turns all of this into a high probability corrective structure, which means that at some point later on, you're looking to take out the highs, which it did, right? Throughout early this morning, you got little corrections and you ended up climbing up. Because this 3-wave down, the third wave failed to complete a 4 and a 5. It failed to complete an impulsive move down. And it just failed the third wave. The third wave already got a very strong bounce. And if you claim the lower highs here on the third wave, it's like almost a guaranteed corrective structure and you're going to come and hit the highs. So this is the complex part of Elliott wave theory. The good thing about Elliott wave theory is to swing trade, I would say, because for scalps, you don't need Elliott wave theory, right? You can just look for, high volume nodes or a daily level or a high point of control, right? Or the session VWAP, right? I know a lot of traders that just use the VWAP, right? Screw Elliott wave theory. If we get above the VWAP, I'm just going to get into a long on the VWAP and trade a little scalp, right? It really depends on your trading style, right? Some people just use the VWAP, right? And the VWAP bands and, a little bit of Fibonacci maybe. It depends on your trading style, of course. We on the channel, I think it makes it very attractive on not because not many people do go through Elliott wave theory to go through the projections, right? The good thing about Elliott wave theory is higher time frame projections and realizing, on the higher time frame, till we do not see something very corrective on the bounce, till we do not see something very corrective and overlappy to the upside, there is higher chance that we do come back up to all-time high. Because the only information that we have for the moment is an ABC flat from a major uptrend in a motive wave. 5-wave up, corrective structure, and a 3-wave in a flat. With this information, when you zoom out, hey, this is a very strong bull market. In the case of Bitcoin, we're not talking altcoins here. We're not talking crypto. We're talking Bitcoin. I know crypto, some altcoins suck. But I have some bags as well, guys, that are down, over 60, 70%. But we're not here to talk about crypto bull run. We're here to talk about Bitcoin. Bitcoin is still in a very strong bull trend. Come on, we're trading at 111K. 2 years ago, we were down at 30K. And there's no major signs of weakness just yet. And the latest move that we have from the lows of April, because this was a pretty epic correction. This is a nice, solid, symmetrical correction from an uptrend. Big move up, nice, long. This was actually nice and deep as well. We had an epic move up in April, 5-wave structure. The information that we have is that for the moment, the highest probability is that we have a flat here. We have a flat. We don't have much more information. If we bounce in the next coming weeks, entering into November, and we start forming all of this nonsense, 3-wavy corrective structure, you're overlapping the higher low, you're getting a bounce, it's very choppy. You're literally inverting right now. This looks aggressive, the movement's up, look corrective, we can lose the lows, right? It's inverting the scenarios. This is very impulsive. This is very corrective and overlappy. Take the highs. This is very corrective and overlappy. Even on the lower time frame, we were monitoring this price action back in May as corrective. Take out the high. Well, we need to see this kind of movement, but inverted, right, to the downside. So we haven't got that. When we zoom out, it's still very bullish, legends. Bang, 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 bang. 5-wave up, flat here. There's not enough information to see that, you know, we're going down. We could be getting that information in the coming weeks. We'll go step by step here. Expanding diagonal. The main reason I went through the lower time frame to explain to you that scenario is if we move down from here, we correct up and we claim 109k. If this bounce claims the lower high, it's a failed wave 3. It didn't manage to form an impulsive move, right? 4 and 5. If you on the third wave get close to that lower high, this is highly likely corrective. It's in your best interest to look for longs to take out these highs over here that were formed today. If you move down in a 5-wave impulse, bang, correction, bang, correction, bang, and then you move up correctively, then it's in your best interest eventually to say, okay, this is strong, this is weak to the upside. You know, you want to look for shorts to claim this low and even the lows here, potentially in a wave 3, right? So we're going to have to see. So an expanding diagonal here is possible if you even come down, okay? If we did not form that high, your invalidation basically was this one here. But as you formed this high, you could even still be bullish if you come down to 109k. If you did not form this high, then you only had a multiple 1-2. An expanding diagonal was not possible because your 5th wave was not longer than your 3rd wave. And if we would have rolled down and claimed this low, that would have been very bearish. High probability to roll over. But things have changed since we created this high. An expanding diagonal is possible because your wave 5 is longer. So you really have to watch for the price action, how it comes down here in the bullish case, right? Because I mean, at the end of the day, this whole move can be corrective, and the price just really nukes down very impulsively, right? Boom, correction, bang, correction, bang, right? And it forms a very, very solid 5-wave structure. It doesn't need to be like this, but somewhere in this region. It's very aggressive, very 5-wavy on the 15-minute time frame, and obviously the bounce is going to be very, very attractive. You know, eventually to look for that next move down to very likely get beneath this low and even come to 103.6. So where we at right now, it's a little bit of a non-trading environment unless we move down into that previous day value area high, which there is a chance right now. There is, you know, kind of got a fake out, kind of got a little bit of a fake breakout here. The next interesting zone on the lower time frame for all of those day traders, you know, for me is literally looking at the previous day value area high. You do not want to lose successfully the 110.2k zone, just because if you get back inside previous day value zone, you have a good chance that you're coming down to the lows of the previous day value area. So this is crucial to hold. Daily open. You got point of control here on Coinbase as well. Value area high. It's probably going to come down there. You'll want to see that reaction. This is a very, very important zone for the price to hold, at least short term. Because if it does not hold, I would say you're coming down to these lows at 108.8k. If we do not hold this area kind of in a fake out, we're likely coming down to 108.8k, which is the next zone. This becomes your non-trading zone. You can get in, get back above, reclaim, possibly look for a long. It just becomes an SFP, failed breakout. Then if you do get a bounce, you can, attempt a long position. If you break through, inside of this area, I would not be interested in speculating on anything. At least me personally, of course. So it's either fake out, interested in the long. If it breaks and maintains beneath the previous day value low and daily open of today, I would say it's gonna lose. It's gonna go down to 108.8 low here, which is the previous day value area low. So yeah, this is a zone where I would be taking some local trading decisions to see if this uptrend momentum, this uptrend market structure is going to continue. So we'll see that. It's time to go through the comment section. Guys, I'm so sorry. I get focused here on a little bit of scenarios and education. There's so much to talk, and I forget about you legends. By the way, if you are interested in trading, guys, you got multiple exchanges, BTCC, you have great bonuses, $10,000 deposit bonus on BTCC, okay? It's one of the best exchanges out there. They've been active since 2011, guys, 14 years. So if you want a good solid exchange with good track record, BTCC, it has to be one of the oldest crypto exchanges out there, which is still active, and they're very solid. You can trade gold, you can trade S&P 500 also here, guys. It's actually a pretty epic platform. Go and check out the bonuses. You have it in the pinned comment, also down below, guys. BTCC, Bluffin, okay, or Bybit even. Bybit is one of the most solid ones. Check out the links down below for those bonuses. You got the best deals in perks, 20% deposit bonus on weeks, Bluffin, BTCC 10K, okay. Good thing about BTCC, and some people have been asking, is about trading gold. And you can trade gold and even the stock market S&P 500 on BTCC. Andy, give an update on Solana. We need to give an update on Ethereum. Solana, I kind of feel like I'm quitting on altcoins, guys. I'm quitting. I'm just focusing on Bitcoin and Ethereum. That's where I want to make my trades and make my gains. But we can maybe take a look at Solana later on. Yes, you can, my man. You just need an email and a password on BTCC, okay? You just need an email and a password. It works like a charm. It's a great platform, okay? And you just need an email and a password, and you got the biggest bonus available, okay? The more you trade, the more airdrops you're going to get, okay? This is literally the bonus that you get. Over 300 plus crypto, okay? And you can trade gold. You can trade S&P 500, which is absolutely awesome, guys. If you can trade using US dollar tether, gold, or the stock market, which is, I think this is really, really good, because some people just get fed up of trading crypto and they want to trade gold that's in a massive rally, right? Or the S&P 500. We need BTC analysis. Yeah, we'll stick to BTC, right? Now, bear market incoming, short every bounce, says Obscura. Yeah, Mythos. I would say, as long as you do not take out this high, I mean, just because we were uptrending, guys, it kind of feels nice to talk about bullish scenarios just because we were uptrending in the last few days, right? And I know there's many people that want to be bullish. This impulsive move down, not finished, is still possible unless you actually get above $114,000 successfully, like really get up there, because your hard invalidation for this is taking your wave 2, right, from here, because this is your higher time frame wave 2. All of this is part of your third wave out of speculation. Not sure if you can see. You could still get above that high. This was such a beautiful rejection, guys. We mentioned this on a stream at the beginning of the week. I hope that some people got into this epic short. I mean, this right over here is, for me, is not an epic short, I have to say. It could roll over from here, but it's a difficult entry. Okay, with the consolidation, could have been a fake pump. We're getting a move down right now into an important area. We're going to take a look at Bitcoin right now, but this scenario is still very much valid. Hope some of you did get into that anchored VWAP. We were talking about this on the stream on Tuesday. Beautiful rejection with 50% Fibonacci from the wave 2 to the wave 3. I mean, this SFP, you had so much here going on, right? This is when you use Confluence, you need to align everything that you have, right? Align all of the knowledge that you have. And if everything, all of the dots, you got some lower highs on the higher time frame for a swing failure pattern. You got the anchored VWAP from all-time high also there at 114k. You have the possibility, considering Elliott wave theory, 1 2 1 2 3 4 5, and your higher time frame wave 4, because this wave 4 is part of your wave 3, hitting 50% Fibonacci, which is like the last zone, because you don't want to get to a golden pocket at 116k, because that's an invalidation for your wave 4 on the higher time frame. So you're kind of aligning all of the confluence there. And this was an epic, swing failure pattern to get in at, actually. We did talk about this on Tuesday as a pretty solid trade. And this is still very much a scenario, guys. There is a chance of counting this as a double zigzag. I like this more as a double zigzag. This was the general idea just a few days ago. And this movement down is counted best as an impulse. This is why you can fit a flat here, because this does count better as a strong impulse. This is why this could be 1 2 1 2. You have A, B, C flat, impulse down. So I mean, this is the thing with Elliott wave theory. You can get a little bit, you can have a few scenarios. You kind of have the bullish and the bearish. You always end up with a bullish and bearish, but there's one that will always have a bit more higher probability, right? So with that said, this is very much countable as a double zigzag up. This is very, very well counted as an impulse. We haven't gone into too much detail on here, but there's probably a double zigzag potential in this area, in this uptrend. It did look very multi 1-2-ish, but eventually, if it were to break down aggressively, then inevitably I would really say, this movement down is going to be important to spot if it were to get a solid breakdown. Okay, if it is going to get a solid breakdown, then obviously the bounce. We're moving down into our first, almost coming into the first major zone of support. We need to take a look at that right away. Let me zoom in, because this might be, it's moving down a little bit in a waterfall here. Let's go to the 15-minute time frame. We're just coming into the previous day value area high. Daily open is just $200 away. Yeah, it's an interesting area that I would want to see at least a 10-15 minute consolidation, a little bit of reaction, in this area. I wouldn't say it's a sniper at this moment, just after creating this high, just because you have a possible 5-wave move up here in that expanding diagonal. yeah, and the problem is, of course, after a 5-wave move to the upside, you always need to be aware that you could get that corrective move. But this is the area where the price could definitely get that bounce. You don't want to lose the previous day value area high. It is a zone for a speculative small long. If you do get into a sign of strength here, I think I would remain a little bit patient, because we've just come into the level. I wouldn't expect a V-shaped recovery from here. What would be nice is get some attempts, a bit of change of local market structure. The best thing that you can do is get some consolidation as support, right? You want a bit of a reaction and not just long the first candle into the level, right? Kind of dance around here. This is the 15-minute time frame, so you can see there was a couple of hours here of price action as you hold after this movement down. A few hours here, then you bounce. Also here, there was about just over an hour. So you come down with that candle, and you have about an hour or so that you're actually holding the zone. You want to get a bit of holding the zone here to really say, okay, value area high, daily open is holding nicely. And if it does V-shape, V-shapes are very, very, very rare. So you want to stay calm. You want to stay calm, see proof of support, and obviously not trade the first candle into the level, because you usually get a little range. You usually get a little consolidation, right? You hold the zone for a little bit before you actually get the reversal. And if sometimes you can V-shape, especially in this case where we've had the CPI news, which kind of gets the pump, sweeps the highs, dumps, sweeps the lows, and then it reverses, right? Obviously today is the best day to get a bit of a V-shape because of the news. It's very common in when you have a mini range here on a news event, sweep up the highs, sweep up the lows, and then and then reverse. But I never want to speculate on a long on the first candlestick hitting a level. I mean, unless you enter, you're very defensive. Just hitting previous day value area high right now, getting a little bounce of a few $100, as you can see here. Very, very aggressive always to trade the first candlestick. But you've literally swept the last higher lows, which is it's kind of what you want to see in a range, right? Sweep up the highs, boom, sweep up the lows, and then you look for a possible reversal. It is true, a little bit skeptical on this, just because the best bullish outcome is a multiple 1-2 here. The best multiple, bullish outcome is getting a multiple 1-2 setup, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, and then eventually, you end up breaking out here. Bit of an aggressive entry, but worth an attempt. With the CPI news, it is common to get a sweep of highs, sweep and lows, and then reverse. But not usually when there's no news events. Usually want to see a bit of proof of support. But I have to say that was a bit of an aggressive entry. It's already up $500 from that previous day value area high. It's a bit of a sniper trade. Let's go through the comment section. Man, just pump already. Sheesh, says Jets. Why it dump? We attempted the highs. This is natural. This is when you're going to get a lot of people bullish for the breakout. There's probably too many longs entering here as well. And you need those higher lows to be swept. This is where people like to, trail their stops, right, beneath the last higher low. So if there's been over leveraged long positions, it's completely natural to sweep those higher lows. But those higher lows are very much many times good entries, right? Especially considering that we have the previous day value area high, which is what is getting the bounce literally right now. So yeah. Let's go through the comment section. Trading liquidation event 2 weeks ago scared the shit out of everyone. Yes, it did. Bearish CVD 2. We got bearish CVD divergent. That's why we also got the drop. We got Justin here, the absolute legend, with his Porsche there. I recognize you because of that emoji, that profile picture. Bearish. Ooh, yeah, too many longs entering here. Holy smokes, we got 18 million longs entering right now as we speak on this dump. Look at the CVD right now on Bybit. It's going absolutely bananas. Holy smokes. I did talk about this level inside of the VIP. Maybe some people are going aping into longs here on this retracement. Too many longs entering here. This is not... I mean, the price did get a little bounce of $500-600 from that previous day value high, daily open. This is never a good sign when you see too many longs entering like this. Man, CVD is going through the roof here on Bybit. Holy smokes. Lots of longs entering, aping in right now on this pullback, which I have to say, you know, it might play out. It might play out. This is the thing, when you got a news event, you create the hype, you sweep up the local lows, and then you maybe bounce, right? It does happen. But anyway, I wouldn't... Super chat, Andy said, let's take a look at the super chat right away. Much love to everybody. Almost 6 o'clock. Let's go. Here in the UAE. Hi, Andy. Could ICP recover in your opinion? Thanks. I definitely see ICP recovering, my man. Stock market also getting some nice pumpy action. Yeah, ICP, my average entry price is $5. $5.50. I do inevitably I do see this recovering at some point. This is like it can get more worse than this, but it's literally gone down to the lows of the bear market. So there's two options here. There's two options: sweep over the lows and a recovery. I would say ultimately at least get above $6.30, which is the highs of this range. The question is then, you know, are we going to roll back down, maybe one more bounce and then roll over? You are going to see some kind of a recovery, but the bullish technicals have been a little bit broken here to come above $20. So I might be considering getting out at a slight profit once we get above $6-7. Just gonna, well, it's not that much capital, if I'm honest. I might just leave it. I might just leave it because it won't be massive profits. I might just leave it. But yeah, for sure. I mean, ICP is a working blockchain project. It just hasn't got much attention. It is the fastest blockchain that there is. So it's just probably it hasn't got enough attention, which it might do in the next coming months or years. I'm taking it as a long-term investment now. But it's a working L1, okay? It's a working blockchain project. So let's see. Just people, it needs more marketing. It needs more attention. More people building, you know, DeFi on top, right? Decentralized finance products on top of ICP, and then it might get a little bit of adoption. But at the end of the day, it's all about adoption. So yeah, we'll see. Scam coin. It's not a scam coin. It's a blockchain project, but you know, we got Cadena going down the toilet, guys. You know, Cadena is also a blockchain project that went down the hole, right? What isn't a scam apart from Bitcoin, you know, and Ethereum, because Ethereum obviously is a, you know, decentralized blockchain. What isn't a scam in crypto anymore, right? Just leave it, Andy. Yeah, I'm going to leave it. I'm not going to speculate. I am, says Nico. Yeah, exactly. I mean, ICP, I'm not too worried. CPI, what CPI? CPI came out at 3%. It was the forecast, so it did come out at 3%. 3.1 core inflation. It was actually, oh no, sorry, my bad. That was the previous. Yeah, it came out as expected, which kind of got a little bit of a relief. How about BTC US dollar tether? What do you think it'll be like in 25 hours? BTC, what, in 25 hours? Why not 24? What's this thing about 25 hours? Where are you from? Sir John Lee. What do you think it'll be in 25 hours? Why not 24? BTC, well, we are at big resistance on the higher time frame. We like it or not. I like it or not. In the last 24 hours, I had that kind of bullish sentiment in my gut that we're going to absolutely fly. I don't know why, but it comes sometimes once in a while, even though my analysis in the last few days was favoring to claim the lows one more time at 103K, right, with a drop of a few $1,000s, just because of the multiple 1-2 that fits better. And this fits better as a corrective structure as well. When we're talking about this movement up, we are coming with all sorts of imagination here, right? Expanding diagonal, which also has a chance. I mean, I need to talk about, they're the most important level to hold if this is going to be an expanding diagonal in a 5-wave move up, which is also the alternative bullish case scenario if we were to lose the 106K, 107K actually, these lows right over here. This is the alternative scenario, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C. I mean, if it were to roll down to get beneath the lows of Wednesday and even the lows of last Sunday at 106K, this is where you have the SFP chance or 7/8 Fibonacci chance. I mean, this is where you would have to put some alerts. You would give a chance for the bulls here. I would give them a chance. This is a sniper trade if you swing failure pattern. Just the same as Tuesday, it was also a sniper trade. If you do not get in at the lows, you are going to, you're going to enter a little bit later, but you still might have done okay. But you're going to struggle without a doubt. I prefer to, sniper the lows on the SFP. The weekly naked point of control here, we did have that sniper trade, right? It's just, you have a few minutes to get in here. If you don't, you're going to get in here, and then price is going to go against you, and your risk to reward is not going to be that great. If you did get into this trade, your target zone is the range, local range, lower highs, which is a move of 1,500. The point of control needs to be a sniper trade in this case, because you're going to struggle to try and enter longs here, right? You're going to struggle. Not the best to enter day trade swing longs. You want to trade the exact level. This is why, if this is a expanding diagonal, these are local possible setups, guys. It's just to get ready. It's creating plans, right? I do not know if the price is going to go up, down, back, forward, or in circles. I don't know, guys. What we do know is patterns, levels of confluence. There is a possible bullish pattern here in a expanding diagonal, and there is a possibility of forming a 3-wave ABC. You actually sweep up the lows here. Oh my goodness. It looks like it's going to claim the lows, and it decides it does not want to claim the lows just as of yet. The best chance to get the bounce? Look no further. It is that higher low right over here. It is this higher low from last Sunday with the 7/8 Fibonacci, your last bullish fib level. Because 0.88 is you never prefer the 0.88 being hit. If you hit the 0.88, you're just likely going to take out this low with a bounce later on or not. But 7.8 Fibonacci, 105.8k with that higher low is your best option for a possible swing trade long. I would take it as a aggressive day trade. It might get a bounce for a few hours, would take some aggressive profits at some local levels of resistance, such as the VWAP or whatever resistance we do have. But it's, it has the potential of being a low. Just like this one right over here. This had the potential of being the low right over here. Still has. There's market structure is bullish. This still has the potential of being the low in a multiple 1-2. You got 1-2, 1, ABC flat 2. Maybe this could be a 1 and a 2 also, because it's formed in a 5-wave structure up and it's just going to form a higher low. So, this could have been the low. This has the chance of being the low. I don't know if it's going to be the low or not. Maybe. It has the chance. And if the price were to move down, your other option would be the expanding diagonal as explained, right? If it were to come down. What is interesting about this expanding diagonal and the possibility of forming an ABC to the downside to sweep up all of the higher lows, right? Because, this is classic. This is like a liquidity grab. People that longed either here last week or longed here this week, you want to get them out of the market and then go, right? And that's where you have these Elliott wave scenarios. ABC, hold the 7.8, just miss the low here by $1,000 or $1,500 and then rally. So if you want to try and catch the low on a possible swing trade, your chance was here. You want to take some profits inevitably on this rally that we got from 107k. I would leave some open for sure. This is the kind of long that you want to leave some open because there is a bullish potential. And if you come down here, stops you out, your next option is here if it does get the bounce. If it does not get the bounce, then you're looking for this low. And then once we get down this low, there will be time, guys. I don't think this is going to V-shape recovery, right? If we do get down below 103.6, there will be time to analyze later on, okay? And I have to say, expanding diagonals are the most rare motive waves. They are rare. They're like 1 in 100 or 2 in 100 maybe when you take a look at the statistics. So they're not very common at all. So you're like looking for something that is really not very common. And when you realize and you zoom out and you have this structure to the downside, and this counts better as a correction, you're looking for too much bullishness, right? When there's still that good chance that you come down and hit the lows. No one knows. Where will BTC be in 24 hours and 7 minutes? Yeah, exactly. Where will it be in 25 hours? Like, wow, where are you from, man? I really want to know where you're from, because this thing about 24 hours has got me disturbed. You tell us, Devil. Devil, much love to you. Devil is the coach in the Legends Pro community. He's an absolute legend. He's done the updates today in the Pro community. Video update, possible scenarios. He's the one giving the love and power today on Friday inside of the Pro community. I am also active there throughout the week, okay, also. But Devil today has been providing the updates in the Pro community. And if you are interested in that, guys, to join the Legends, it's super simple. That's where you get the internal updates of BTC. You also have Dylan with the altcoins, and we talk about lower time frame scenarios as well, right? Lower time frame levels and possibilities inside of the pro community. If you are interested, it is this link right over here. Join the Legends community in the middle here in the description if you are interested. What about your analysis on Solana? If I'm honest with you, what can I say about Solana? What can we say about Solana? What can we say about Solana? What can we say about Solana, legends? Ooh, that wick, man, to the downside on Friday, man. Whoever tried to catch that is an absolute beast. Man, that was quick. Point of control of the entire range of the last 2 years. Absolutely. Was kind of barely just scratching the top of it. Holy smokes, that's, John Wayne style. Bang, sniper trade. You need to be quick, man, to catch that. Holy smokes, give me a break. Solana is actually at the value area high, struggling with the value area high of the entire range of the last 2 years. I would say that we need to reclaim that zone immediately. Wow, value area high is acting as resistance a lot in the last few days. Solana is at resistance. A solid breakout above this zone could definitely bring us all the way up to these lower highs. I'm not sure if you are asking for analysis on the higher time frame, as in, will we hit new all-time highs for Solana, or you're looking for internal trading levels? That's the question. I didn't get Solana analysis ready for today, but I will do a video on Solana. Why not? It might not do too well because people want to know about Bitcoin. Analyzing a chart does take a few hours, guys. In the morning, I do spend a lot of time analyzing the different levels and scenarios. So doing this is why on streams, it would take a solid 30 minutes to get something solid on analysis based on levels, right? So this is why on stream it's like, yeah, it's looking good, value area high, resistance, bim, bum, bum, right? Because if not, it's going to take at least 30 minutes to get some kind of a solid analysis and levels for a trading setup. And I know a lot of people that follow me don't like me to look at altcoins, preferably Bitcoin. They're okay with Ethereum. But when I start looking at altcoins, people are like, screw altcoins, screw altcoins. We're here for Bitcoin or Ethereum, right? And I think people do enjoy Ethereum as well, as it is a very mature market as well. It's going to fall completely, says Boiled Potato. Is that Bitcoin? Stock up is good. Stocks are the lifeline. Big players make money in there and throw coins into the Bitcoin well. Into the Bitcoin well, okay. Suzanne, I am bullish indeed. All-time high next 2 months, says Suzanne. Absolutely, I do think so as well. I think Bitcoin all-time high before the end of the year. Okay. I would say before the end of the year. We still have November, we still have December, 2 more months. A lot of time still to get to all-time high. A lot of time. Even though we do correct down, legends, even though we do correct down beneath this low, or even beneath this low at 98k, because the much wider complex correction would be forming a flat in a wave W. You form a corrective structure in wave X here of some kind that might get people excited, and then bear market again, and you form a zigzag down sharply to get below 100k, and then entering into December, you get that major rally. It could, unfortunately, having a flat here you know, could extend, and there's still a lot of time because this movement up and the expanding diagonal still has a lot of time in the correction. Okay, let me see. Yeah, when you take time into consideration, which we did in September, we did take time into consideration a lot for this to be the low. Preferably you cross the 38% time before bottoming out. If you bottom out before the 38% time, it's very shallow, and you have the risk of this, which happened in the last few weeks, right? Which we had it as a scenario. We were aware of a big collapse below 107k when we were trading at 125k, but it seemed unreal, right? When you're trading up there and it's so bullish, it's like, whew, you know, are we ever going to go down? Well, yeah, it is. It happens fast eventually. But there's a lot of time, right? There is a lot of time still to dance around. The 1-to-1 time from the move up since April is in December, so still a lot of time here to dance around, guys. It's probably it could be a boring few weeks. It could be anyway, it could be boring on the higher time frame till we hit all-time high. It's going to be boring for the bag holders, right? For the people that hold on spots, but the people that look for intraday trading setups, there's always opportunities, right? There's always opportunities there and there, right? So it will be more exciting for the people that do trade. Legends, much love. It is Friday. I hope you do enjoy your Friday. Let me know your plans. What you're doing today, guys. What are you eating? Where are you going? Are you going party? Are you watching a film? Are you going to the movies? I think I might go to the movies with my missus. Why not? Why not watch a movie today? Let me know if there's any good movies in the cinema. It is Friday evening. It is time to enjoy the weekend. All right, let me know if there is any good movies, guys, in the cinema, at least here in the UAE, in Dubai. And might go and watch a movie. I always eat BTC, Andy. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico. Where's that? Who's from Puerto Rico? Much love. Party days are over, Andy. Yes, I know, my man. Very true. I don't party. I might have a couple of beers once in a while, but yeah. No parties, no wild weekends. That's over, guys. That's over. This is why cinema, guys. I might go to the cinema and watch a movie with my missus. Party days are over. Nico Soup. Yeah. You're the man, Mac Muller. Much love, guys. New DiCaprio movie. New DiCaprio movie. Thank you very much, Rob Story. We'll take a look at that. We'll take a look at that maybe. Okay, see if it's good. Legends, much love. Remember, you got the pro community or the VIP. Super simple if you want more updates throughout the week, not only YouTube. It's super simple to join the Telegram, okay? You just need to sign up to either Bluffin, BTCC. You got epic bonuses. BTCC also, you can trade stocks and, you know, gold and all sorts of different cryptos. You got the best bonuses. And if you do a minimum deposit, you can join the VIP, okay? Which I give my, you know, personal outcome, you know, on the different scenarios. Much love. Stay safe. It is Friday. We know that Fridays can be dangerous. Friday 2 weeks ago, we got a dump. And Friday last week, we got a dump. So, yeah, it's Friday, guys. And Fridays are dumpy days. Much love. Stay safe. And I'll see you in the next one, guys. Thank you very much for joining and smashing the like button. Let's see if we can get to 300 likes. Thank you. And I'll see you in the next one.